Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Phoenix Rising segment, brought to you by Chicago's Chicken Shack nonprofit, providing food to the homeless. We're joined by our regular contributor, Anna Devere, and today she is joined by the incredible Bailey Lee, a self-realized visual artist and interior designer. Bailey's real launch into her career as a professional artist came after Whoopi Goldberg purchased two of her installation pieces, Vaginas Are Lit. Among a long list of accomplishments, she is featured in a book called Iconic Home, with ongoing campaigns with Apartment Therapy and Toyota. Not to mention, she was additionally a featured panelist at the Black Interior Designers Conference for an artist talk, Brushes with Bailey Lee, hosted by, of course, Benjamin Moore Paints. They join me today to chat all about her career evolution, neuroaesthetics, and the life of a visual artist. Welcoming now to the show is Anna Devere and the amazing Bailey Lee. Welcome, superstars.
Hi. What a privilege. I just want to live in this beautiful world you designed, Bailey. Thank you
Oh,
for being here.
thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Zen and Anna, for having me on the show. This is wonderful.
Bailey, it sounds like you've had such an extraordinary journey, and your art has certainly not gone unnoticed and has even been mentioned and featured in NBC's Open House NYC. I read about Essence and Forbes and Vogue, Fast Company, PBS, designers. I mean, the list goes on and on. Truly, a Beautiful House even listed you as one of 29 Black designers making history. Very impressive stuff. Would you mind sharing something of your story that led you to being such a celebrated artist and designer in today's market?
Sure. Yes. I would say, I think when I thought back on my life in retrospect, I really think that my upbringing lended to me wanting to create these types of safe havens and beautiful spaces that inspire people. And so, yeah, growing up, both of my parents were unfortunately addicted to drugs, and I had to go live with my grandmother, and I felt like I didn't have the spaces that I really wanted that would have nurtured me. And so I think that lended to me wanting to create those spaces for others and eventually for myself as I grew up.
Incredible. And I love, absolutely love how your career has really evolved, which allowed you to unlock a new side to your artistic form. And I think that that's what really makes you so unique. But something I found interesting is that while over three-fourths of interior designers in the workforce today are women, and nearly half of visual artists as a whole are women, there's still a staggering pay gap in the arts industry. And while there is work to improve this, there's still a very long way to go. So I really respect the impressive leaps that you specifically have made in your career, despite how the market and industry stands today. So just wanted to point that out because it's no easy feat. I know, Anna, you have some questions, so I'm going to hand it off to you.
Yeah, I want to talk about these leaps that Zen's talking about because not everybody that it wants to be an artist makes that connection. But Bailey, I kind of get the feeling that your turning points or what galvanized your story was this need to help people, and particularly how when a person dragged you back from corporate America into design, it was because she'd gone through a divorce. I know you've mentioned that in your story one-on-one with me. Is that what motivates you? Like, how do you find the courage and to stand in your purpose now? Is it about helping people?
Yeah, definitely. My clients become my muse, and their stories and their accomplishments and their journey through life is really what defines my inspiration for their projects. And like you said, I did have a client. I was back in corporate America, was not doing design anymore, and I had this woman that reached out and was just insisting that I design for her. And I was like, should I just tell her like I'm not doing this anymore? But when I heard her story about getting divorced and kind of, being, you know, um, I don't know, taken for a lot of money, and just this person wasn't authentic and proved to be harmful to her. And she just wanted her life back. She was just like, you're going to be my Ayanna Van Zant. You're going to help to fix my life. And I hadn't thought of, the impact of my design work and how it could serve as that for her. And once I gave her the space that she truly desired, she cried. Her daughter and her were so happy. And I just knew at that moment that I'm changing lives with this, and this means so much more to me now.
You found a
Wow.
purpose.
Yes, yes.
Now, let's talk about this idea of neuroaesthetics, which is the fairly new and rapidly expanding field of study that explores the neural consequences of contemplating and processing a creative work of art. I love this entire concept. And I'm sure, Bailey, that this concept is undoubtedly important to consider when designing spaces for your clients. So could you explain a little more about what it is and how you discovered the connection between our environment and the way it affects us mentally?
Sure. Working as an interior designer and a decorator, I reached a point where I said, well, dang, is this all to it? I love that I'm impacting lives, but I feel more like an artist and a creative, and I feel like there's more to this. And so I went down the rabbit hole researching, and I came across neuroaesthetics and discovered that it was, like you said, a fairly new science that was studying how people are impacted by art and why, and what it does for us. And once I realized that, the art, the design, the environments, everything that we are experiencing on a day to day is really impacting our psyche. It's affecting our moods. It's determining whether or not we go out into the world feeling good and successful, whether or not we come back home and feel great. We are really kind of in this energy simulation where we're being affected by our environment all the time. And so it's important for us to have beautiful things like art that inspire us to be greater and better. When you see someone's passionate work, it ignites something in you. And when I realized that it was igniting that frontal lobe that's right there where the pineal gland is, I said, oh, this is a whole spiritual experience that we're having.
It's so true. It's such a deeper subject, but I want to say, like, it's just as simple as like putting on something beautiful and going out in the world and having confidence, but understanding that your environment is your mirror. You've impacted me. I think about, tidy this place up. It reminds me of when I got divorced and would send myself flowers just to remind myself that I deserved beauty. And so I can only imagine how powerful it is to affect lives that way. Do you have any favorite projects that highlight this neuroaesthetic path?
Yeah, I think that once I discovered neuroaesthetics, that is when I really started to infuse the murals, and because I wanted to infuse art in a big way into the projects, not just curating art for the walls or that matched the environment, but actually making my clients the subject of the art, being inspired by them to create these beautiful murals and creating almost installation type environments that would really kind of mirror back to them the brilliance that existed within them. And so most of my projects that you see with the huge murals, the hand painted murals in them are, some of my favorites, the ones that include that aspect as well. So it's
How
hard to kind of
amazing.
put it down to one.
Yeah.
You're a fascinating woman. Now let's go back to your artistic journey. So you started as a real estate agent and turned interior designer, which ultimately led you to becoming a self-realized visual artist. Can you tell us a little bit more about that evolution of your design work into painting and what you love about being a fine artist?
Yeah, I think when I did that first installation and Whoopi Goldberg came and bought two of the pieces that were called Vaginas Are Lit, and she really loved, the concept, and I really loved that I was creating environments that acted as experiences for people. That led me to not only doing the murals and the art installations, but then going on to canvas. And the reason I did that was because I felt like, okay, I'm expressing a lot, using other people as the mural, as the muse for their environments. But now I want to express, my story or stories that really touch me, and I can do that freely on the canvas, and I can do that freely in the in installation art or environments that allow people to come through as an experience. So that's kind of what led me to really start to do the visual art work on the canvases.
I love that. This is really a true altered life story because it's driven by what you were given as a child and then what you decided to make of it. And I just want to know, do you have any final thoughts on what inspired you?
Yeah, I think that, people with these stories of triumph, they always inspire me. I think a lot of us are going through a lot, in this world, and it's important for us to look at our stories, and see them as strength, see them as things that are motivators, and see them as templates for others to use in order for them to get through tough times and to really express their passion and find joy through the pain. So that's inspiring to me when
Mm,
I can help someone do that, or I can witness someone doing it.
And shout out to Grandma who gave you that inspiration of home that you carried all this time and the beauty she created. It's in the really simple relationships. I love your story. Thank you so much, Bailey.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. This was wonderful.
That was the incredible Bailey Lee, self realized visual artist and interior designer. Head to designbybaileylee.com to check out some of the amazing spaces she's designed and art that she's created. And of course, be sure to check her out on the gram at interiorista_Bailey Lee to stay up to date. And of course, do check out Anna on the gram at Anna_Devere. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.